What's up, real ones? It's your host, Rueben. I don't dodge the tough questions, and I'm never afraid to speak the truth. If you're new here, welcome. We celebrate stories, unpack the hard stuff, and talk about the things that actually shape us. So take a breath and lean in. This is Getting Real. Getting Real. Getting Real. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the next episode of Getting Real with Rueben. It's the new year now. We're rocking and rolling. By the time you guys see this, we'll be heading into February, Lovers Month, Valentine's Day, spring break's around the corner. If you live in San Antonio, the rodeo is here. So we have a lot of things coming up. And before we dive into this episode, last couple episodes we talk about mental health. We've talked about doing better for yourself. We've talked about goals. We've talked about being intentional. And if you're tuning in now, it's important that you've gotten the year started. And one of the topics that we'll talk about today is diving in, right? And diving in and being your authentic self and doing things that are purposeful and that make people happy. And so this is just a reminder that as the year picks up and all the events start coming out, because we're going to get into that busy time of the year, that you ground yourself and that you make sure, again, that you're not just feeding the people around you, but you're feeding yourself. One thing that I've been learning in the last couple weeks is I'm go all the time, but it's okay to take 15 minutes to go walk around your block with your dog. It's okay to take 20 minutes to pick up a book, a magazine, a newspaper, open up, your reading apps on your phone and read for 10 to 15 minutes. I don't think that a lot of us realize, if you don't do it, you don't realize how much joy it can bring you and how much happiness and truly it catapults you into a different space mentally when you can ground yourself like that. So that's just my reminder today, and we'll talk about that in today's episode. But before we get in today's episode, we have a special message from a very special sponsor. So take it away. All right. Yes, I am the sponsor of this week's episode. I shouldn't say it is the R Group as the sponsor this week. We do all things real estate. So whether you are looking to buy, sell, apartment locate, rent, get a piece of land, build a new house, buy a manufactured home, whatever it is, we can help you in Texas and all over the United States. Thanks to our brokerage, Real Brokerage, who is nationwide. You guys, there are over 30,000 of us in the United States. So wherever you need to buy, the R Group can help you. We believe in education. So if you have no idea how any of it works, it's just a quick call or text. So be sure to reach out to me and we will get you all connected. Now on to the episode. Man, that guy is handsome. So in all seriousness though, I am so thrilled to be the first. Actually, I learned this off camera prior to filming that this is her first podcast. Someone that I met less than a year ago, actually, and we hit it off immediately. And as the months have gone on, I've been studying her, if you will, and really like soaking in her aura and her just her friendship. And I realized, like, wait, what better time than now to have her on the pod? So without further ado, please welcome Jacklyn.
Hey everyone. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I feel like since I've met you, life has just been so good, so fun.
And a lot of things have popped off for you.
Yes,
like,
and you.
And I mean this in the most respectful way. I really didn't know of you before. And then I met you. So side note, for those of you that are watching or listening, we met because we did an event at the Parker,
yes,
which is an apartment complex here in
with
San Antonio.
With our girl, Christina.
Yes, Christina actually is who introduced us. And I remember her telling me, like, this girl Jacklyn, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't really tripping about it. I wasn't nervous about it. I was just kind of like, okay, this girl Jacklyn. And then we met to do content to promote it. And as soon as you walked in, I was like,
we just clicked.
Oh yeah. Like it was easy. I think that's what it is. Okay. So for those that may not know who you are, which you probably are living under a rock, because she is on any local business, Jacklyn has had, I feel, some type of hand, whether she's just featured on their content, she's creating their content. So for those of people that may not heard of you, who are you, what do you do, and how can we get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, my name is Jacklyn. I have lived in San Antonio now for 5 years. I am a Rio Grande Valley native, a 956er, not from Laredo. I'm from the Rio Grande Valley. Just wanted to clarify.
Note, why do people confuse that?
Because they're both considered the Valley.
Really?
They are, but we're in different areas, okay? And call me biased, I think the Valley is better here.
And same zip code though, right? Area code.
Same area code, but the zip code is different.
Got it. Okay.
And that's where I was born and raised. JK, I was not born in the Valley, Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. I was born here in San Antonio, but literally 3 months later, my parents moved to the Valley. So I was born in the Valley and I did not move up here till I was 20. So I do a little bit of marketing, actually a lot of marketing, let me clarify. I'm done underplaying myself when it comes to my business. I'm also a therapist and I love our city. I love what we do. I love being able to network with people across San Antonio, but also really just be in the field that we're in because it's fun, it's exciting, and really it kind of gives you that best of both worlds where you're able to create friendships that last a lifetime, but you're also able to create a business and it can thrive in the speed that you want it to thrive in.
So, so on that note then, when you decided that you were going to do content creating, I think that is the biggest hurdle for a lot of people, maybe even you when you first started. What was the catalyst that was like, oh, I'm good at this, or I can do this, I can make a living off of it? What was that moment that you realized like, okay, this is a thing, like I can actually accomplish this?
Yeah, so growing up, I've always loved social media. All my friends knew I loved posting on Instagram, but I never took it seriously, even all through high school. And I also feel like the pace of social media changed as we've gotten older, and our generation is really what kind of led that change within it, where it almost felt like it catapulted into something for what it is today. And when it came to social media, I honestly went ghost. That might be hard to believe, but I went ghost during my college years. When I graduated a year later, COVID happened. So the world kind of shut down within itself. And during that time, I had the opportunity to find something to do with work that also felt safe. So I actually became a leasing agent.
What? I did not know that.
And they did not have good socials. And I said,
and what? Oh, you mind saying what apartment complex?
Yeah, this was a college student apartment, y'all, which is why I felt safe. It was there in the Rio Grande Valley. It's called Legends. It's no longer called that. They rebranded now. But I just started their social media, and that was really my first gig. Obviously, I also got to live there, and it was a discounted rate for being an employee, but also doing their social media. And then I realized like this is actually really fun. But then and there, I still did not realize the potential. It was just more, oh, I'm here, let's do it. Because again, I wasn't studying that. And at that time, I was in that headspace of I'm going to be a therapist, mental health 101. And that was my really big thing that I was so focused on that I didn't even think it would be possible to honestly be sitting where I am today.
Wow, I had no, so you literally had to go to know, like you put yourself in that position and just, I'm sure learned bukus, right? Like, which is kind of what got you here. It's funny because I actually text Jacklyn and I'm like, hey, like, so I kind of want to do this, but like, I don't really have an eye for it. And straight up, you were, I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up anyone's butt here. Like, you immediately sent me screenshots of all of your settings. Do you feel like that is something that is normal in this field? Or in the sense of like, when you started, did you have someone that said, hey, here's a little bit of some pointers that will help me? Or were you just kind of walking blindly, learning as you go?
Yeah. And if I'm being completely honest, no, this is not a friendly field.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that very honestly and very bluntly because no one taught me anything. I think people confuse asking for help with almost like taking advantage, or because they're ahead or because they've done this for so long. They don't consider it like a favor. I think it's like, well, you have to learn too because no one helped me. And I've always been one to be that type of individual where you can break that stigma or you can have things end with you.
Right.
I do not feel like I'm in competition with any creator, with any human, with any person, because I'm so secure of myself that if someone asks me for help or guidance, I will give you something until I have nothing left. And that's who I've always been. That's how my family raised me to be. And when it comes to content, that's no different. There's so many businesses, there's so many opportunities where everybody can eat. And if you feel targeted by that, let me hold a mirror for you.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So I can relate to that because, and I don't feel that way with content creation yet. But I can feel that because it's not like a braggy thing. It's not a big-headed thing. It's just being confident. And what I tell people, like, especially in real estate, when I teach like real estate classes on marketing and like branding yourself in real estate, I always tell people like, look, here are all my tricks, but you can't do it like me. And I can't do it like you. That's
Yeah.
like how I follow up with that, because it's true. Like, I can give everyone all the tools, but there's no way in hell they are going to do it the way that Rueben does it. Same with Jacklyn, right? Like, but again, that's and we're saying it very humbly,
Yeah.
because it's very vice versa of like, and you also will do it probably leaps and bounds different than what I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that message is important, because I've seen it firsthand. That was kind of like a probing question, because Jacklyn and I have had conversations off camera, but also I've seen it from the outside, because with Christina, we've done some events and we are kind of surrounded by content creators. I know I have a lot of friends and acquaintances that are content creators, and that's kind of the vibe I get. Never really talked about, I don't think. I think it's more
never
just
talked
under the
about
table, right?
when it comes to like media kits and pricing. Honestly, sometimes what you even use to edit, how you edit, there's a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And it's literally, to anyone watching, if you ever have a question, I will tell you straight up and honestly, because there's room for everybody. There's room for everybody to grow. And truthfully, the more you help others is the more that the universe gives back to you. And I've been a firm believer in that. And I'm like, you get what you
give,
receive. You know, did I say that right? You get what you give.
Yeah.
You get what you give, truly. And that's something that I've never been worried about or concerned about. And honestly, I don't take it personally whenever someone doesn't want to help, because at the end of the day, life is going to take its course. And if opportunities are meant to be, they will come on their own.
And we'll get back to more of that. I want to, before we dive more into the career, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on San Antonio, right? Because you were born here, but obviously probably have no recollection of that. Then you moved, but then what brought you back? I know the answer, but I kind of want people to understand what brought you back, and then what anchored you here. Because I mean, if you wanted to, you could go back to the Valley. Your family's there. You have a lot of friends there, I'm sure. I'm sure you could get a lot of work there, or if you don't already. But I kind of want to know what's your attraction to San Antonio? Like, why San Antonio?
So growing up, we would come maybe once or twice a year to see my grandparents, and it always became something that I really enjoyed doing with my family. And as I got older, I really, really wanted to leave for college. Like, I really wanted to leave, but I also knew it wasn't going to be possible if I got scholarships, and like there was things that needed to be done financially, because I did not want to put that burden on my parents, because college is expensive. I mean, breathing and eating nowadays is so expensive. And so when it came to it, honestly, life took its own course. As I said, I graduated, and a year later, COVID happened. I was blessed enough to get my associates in high school, and it was all paid for. And I'm really grateful for our district back home that did that. So that was 2 years shaved off my college experience, and I went full speed ahead. So when it came to undergrad, I was in the thick of it. I was a very studious individual. Like, I was going to get it done very quick, and I wanted it done fast. When I mean fast, I was taking 6 classes a semester. Like, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to get there immediately, and I wanted to make it happen for myself. And while all of that happened, the world kind of forced me to slow down. COVID happened. So then there goes my college experience. Everything went online. And then I had nothing better to do than do school, which is why it went so fast.
So COVID happened your first semester or year of...
First semester of college, of undergrad.
Oh,
so I never got that experience. We maybe enjoyed 3 months, and then everything went virtual. And that was really hard. It was, I'm a social butterfly, you know, it was a really hard time. And I think just the state of the world, it was a very sad time for so many people, you know? And when it came to that, it was almost like, I want to get out of here. I want to do something. And it became a question where, well, if I move out of my parents' house, and I laid it very clearly to them, and I'm sure they remember this conversation, I said, I'm going to move. The Valley is so tiny, y'all. The Valley is so small. I moved 20 minutes away. I didn't care. I did it. And I told my parents, if I do this all for an entire year, then I'm moving. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'm moving. And during that time that I moved, I did everything on my own. I didn't ask my parents for anything. I didn't ask anybody for anything. I made it happen. I worked, I went to school. And then I said, I'm going to San Antonio. It just became a feeling that I wanted, that I was excited for, where it was still like, okay, 4 hours is a good distance. I can go back and forth. My parents can visit. But it was also something that I knew that also felt like home, because I visited my grandparents up here, and I have cousins up here. And so I knew it would be a taste of home, just in a different capacity. So when I moved up here, it became something like, well, I'm going to go to grad school. And I started telling everybody, I'm going to grad school. I'm going to grad school. Hadn't even applied.
I was going to say,
Hadn't even got accepted. Didn't even know where I was going. I just knew that I was going to go to grad school because I was determined to get the college experience. Y'all, don't let grad school be your college experience. It is not
I
a
was just going to
college
say,
experience.
how did that work out for you?
Yeah, the school was a ghost town. Okay. By the time I got there, like at 7 p.m., it was dead. No parties, no nothing. I don't even think the cafeteria was open. College experience where? But yeah, I ultimately moved up here for grad school. And that's kind of how I got started.
I'm dying because you're like, yeah, I can't wait, and then it's like tumbleweeds. Okay, and so you went, you got your, you went to grad school, and you still studied the same field, right? So
yes.
Psychology is what you studied, correct?
Yeah. So I got my bachelor's in psychology and I had a minor rehabilitation in undergrad. And then when it came to grad school, I really wanted to focus on something that I felt the community needed back home in the Valley, which was counseling, right? And there's so many different fields that you can choose from when it comes to being a therapist. So I really went in with the mindset of wanting to really focus on marriage, couples, and a lot of family work because they're in the Valley. I mean, we're Mexican, right? Yeah. Hispanic culture doesn't really believe in mental health. And I noticed there was a lot of friction within families growing up and within my friends. And I've always been kind of that person for my friends. So I'm like, why don't I get paid for it? You know? So that's really how I kind of decided what I wanted to study. And honestly, when it came to deciding where to go, y'all, I'll be very honest. I went wherever the tuition was cheaper. And that happened to be at Texas A&M San Antonio. Great school. It's on the outskirts of San Antonio. So I was not overwhelmed with traffic. I think it was just exactly what I needed. A very small program, a lot of, smaller all around, attendance, teachers. So it almost felt like I was still in the Valley, but it just gave me that education that I needed to be where I'm at today.
And it was like that slow introduction to life on your own, right? Like you felt like it was kind of homey, but you were in a different city. Okay, that intrigues me a little bit because I don't even know this about you, and I want people to understand this. So let's go back because I don't know what perception of Jacklyn is. Has everything together, always looking a dream, always head to toe. Like you're always put together. Obviously, we all have our days we're working out, we're going to HB, all things, right? But like when you present yourself, you always present yourself polished, prepared, and to perfection in a sense, right? Oftentimes, which is great, oftentimes your fans, I'll call them, your followers, people that love what you do, they get a little glimpse on your stories. They get a little glimpse on maybe on TikTok. But what was life like growing up? Does Jacklyn come from a family that is, very successful? Or did Jacklyn come from a family that, they were on a budget and they're, you have siblings? What does that look like for you? Like when you go back home, what is that life? Is it a slow down kind of life, or does it stay the speed that it is here?
Yeah. So I feel like my family has always been something that was a really big inspiration for me. And when it came to family, like I said, we were from the Rio Grande Valley. There's a lot of poverty. It's not a big place where people make a lot of income. And if we're being honest, and anybody who lives in the Valley, they know this. And I would feel like, my family was definitely in that budget type. My parents would do what they could to make ends meet, but we also knew like we weren't going to be spending thousands and thousands on things. We had what we needed. We had clothes on our back, and for that I'm grateful. But really the driving force to my motivation were my grandmas. Growing up, my grandmas had a Mexican restaurant in San Juan, Texas. So if you're from the Valley, it was called Garza's Cafe. So obviously my mom's maiden name is Garza's. This restaurant practically raised me. And what I mean by that, we were there every single day. That was our daycare in a sense. And it originally started with my great grandma, and she passed away when I was younger. I would say early elementary, even before that. But my great grandma and my grandma really continued it. Both my grandmas kind of had a rough life. My great grandma lost her husband and lost a lot of siblings, and honestly, she was surrounded by a lot of grief. But she never showed that. She kept going. And the restaurant was such an amazing experience for our families and a staple within the city. Like I said, the Valley's so small. So it became something where we really, really enjoyed. And I had such appreciation for the work that both my grandmas did. I wish I I wish I understood
I
how
know,
to
isn't
say
that
that when I was younger,
yeah.
but I didn't. But I know in my heart that they know that,
Yeah.
you know? And it became a thing, you know, where the cooks became family and the waitresses would even give us tips for helping them pick up. And waitresses don't make a lot.
Right.
Obviously, when I was younger, I thought they made so much,
Yeah.
but it meant so much to me that they gave us $1 or $2 to go get a Coke from next door or something. And it just always stayed with me how hardworking both of my grandmas were. When I was in middle school, that was my first encounter like with a real sudden death, and my grandma passed away.
Okay.
So again, my great grandma, another intense grief in her life, had to bury her daughter. My mom had to bury her mom. And I noticed that really shifted the weight of our family, you know, and the way that we kind of really worked through all of that. And the same thing with my dad. Maybe a year later, my dad's family lives up here, you know, so he's always had to sacrifice some sort where his family was up here, but the family he made was down in the valley.
Right.
And even at that time, my uncle had a really, really terrible stroke and he was in a coma and there was all these things. So there was a very big time where my dad even had to move up here to help my grandparents and also help adjust my uncle to the new life that he's now living.
And you were still like in middle school, high school?
I was still in middle school. I was about to enter high school. And I just saw how much work my family was always putting in. Obviously, my parents' relationship wasn't perfect, but that's how it is in every marriage, you know, and you begin to understand that as you get older. And it takes work. It really, really does. But I will forever say my grandmas have been the driving force of that. And even after my grandma passed away, my great grandma Licha kept going. She kept going and she kept that restaurant going, and it became a family thing. And it wasn't until maybe I was a sophomore in high school where she kind of decided it was time. And really, there was nobody else in our family that was able to step up at the time and take care of it. And she kept working until she couldn't anymore. Unfortunately, they have both passed away right before I moved to San Antonio. My great grandma passed away. But before that, like she lived to, I believe she was 98 or 99.
I was just going to say you were very, very blessed to be able to have your great grandparent.
Very blessed. Very, very blessed. They were my entire world. And I just feel like in a sense that spirit lives within me. My grandma had such appreciation for life and she was so at peace with being ready to die. On her last year of life, she found out she had cancer and she beat cancer. And honestly, I just really felt like she was ready to go. And we would always hear her praying at night. And she was just always so grateful for the people that she was around and the work that she instilled in the rest of us. I don't think she knows the impact that it had on me today and who I am as an individual. But I feel like my mom and my aunt can see that. Like, I think if you're in our family, you can see pieces of her, of both of them in me, you know?
It's funny because I did not know any of this. And like it all in my head as I'm watching you, all the puzzles are just, all the pieces are connecting because I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It makes sense why you're such a hard worker.
Yeah.
It's not just because I mean, yes, obviously through your own capabilities, right? And your own, you know, your own want for more and for success and to do better in your life. But now it's just amazing to hear it all stems from your grandma and your great grandma. Like obviously your parents and things like that, but just the story you just told, it all makes sense. Like even just seeing the light that you just said, like she was so appreciative of life and lived. I feel like anytime you walk into a room, that's how you are. Like
oh my God, that's
you
so
walk
sweet.
into a room, you're not tripping about, you're not going to be worried about small little things. You're there to do a job, but you're also there to have fun and connect and have a good time.
Yeah.
And
that's what she did so good at, you know, so many people came to the restaurant to connect and we met so many families, so many friends. And it's crazy. I'll even have friends come up to me today like, oh my gosh, I remember the enchiladas. I love them. And y'all, I finally got my hands on the recipes.
Really?
So I will be making them soon.
Okay. Are you a cook? Do you like to cook?
I do like to cook.
Okay.
It's fun. It's
when you
fun.
have time, I'm sure.
When I have time. But again, I just feel like because it's always so connected, I think it's just within our family that I've really just enjoyed doing that because it brings me back to that time.
Like the smells, just the vibe, right? And all. Okay. So that makes more sense to me. Okay. I do want to talk about this idea because I also have been posting like a crazy person. You would think that I got paid to post about it. I don't know if you've seen it, but Becky G's documentary, have you watched it yet?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
This is a PSA. Hopefully by the time this airs, you will have seen it. It is, I am not a crier. I do not cry. It takes a lot to make me cry. Less than 10 people in my whole life have ever seen me cry. That movie, that documentary is phenomenal.
Wow.
It is probably the best documentary I've ever seen. And the reason I bring it up is because it follows Becky G. It follows, but not her on stage, not her, on tour. Yes, there are bits and pieces.
Who she is at the core.
And like, if you are from the Valley, from San Antonio, from El Paso, any place where the demographic is highly saturated with Latinos or Hispanic, it touches your core so heavily. And one of the themes I would say is kind of what you touched on, which is family, number one, and families not being perfect all the time, right? But then secondly, more so the weight, and that's what I want to talk about. Do you feel, and this is a question, I don't know if it would be yes or no, but do you feel kind of innately as a Latino, as Hispanic, and being the daughter that I would imagine in your family, you're the go-getter. Just your aura gives, you're the go-getter. You're the one that's going to go out. You eat, whether they put this on you or not, Jacklyn is going to put her family on the map and make sure one day she's able to take care of everyone, I would imagine, right? And that's a theme. That's on my shoulders. That's on your shoulders. Some people don't feel that, but when you come from a certain upbringing, that's just what innately falls in your lap, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that they talk about on the show, or on the documentary. So I want to ask you, do you feel that? No, I call it pressure, but it's not that someone is putting it on you. It's just that, do you feel that? And with your background of psychology and what you've learned, is it something that you kind of work through and try to release from your shoulders, or do you wear it with pride and kind of roll through life knowing like, it's okay, that's just what I was born to do?
Yeah. I think within our family, growing up, I was always the rock. Like, I'm the middle child. I have an older sister. Her name's Serena. Younger brother,
hey, Serena.
Michael. Hey, Michael and Serena.
Y'all better be watching.
Y'all better be watching. And my parents, shout out them. They're 3 for 3. And yeah, I've always been that go-getter, a middle child, super independent, doing what needs to be done. And at first I feel like I was wearing that responsibility wrong, where if anything maybe went wrong or if it was stressful, I would put that weight on myself. And it was very overwhelming to be in that position because I didn't know that that wasn't my responsibility. You know, my parents are adults. Yes, it's their first time living too. Yeah. But again, something I've always been firm on is when you're an individual, there comes a point in life where you have the opportunity to either have cycles end with you or continue it. And I wanted it to end with me. I didn't want to wear that burden or that pressure of having to keep things together and people together. That is not my responsibility. Yeah. It's no one's responsibility. And if you are that person in your family, I'm here to tell you right now, stop doing that to yourself. Yeah. And as I've gotten older and the work that I did through grad school and with my own therapist, I almost realize how to almost stop holding it and just wear it like a blanket. Like, this is who I am as a person. And granted, there's nothing that can change the amount of love and support that I have for my family, but it's different because it's no longer pressure. It almost just feels like I'm given this responsibility, I'm given this role because I have the capability to hold it. But that's all I should do is hold it. I'm not going to hold my parents' hand. I'm not going to hold my sister's hand, my aunt's hand, my uncle's hand, anyone's hand, friends, family, relationships. It's just more so being able to acknowledge it, but also recognize it's not your responsibility at all. And through grad school, that really, really taught me that. And I've done a lot of self-healing where I'm grateful that it went the route that it did, because I never would be where I am today with boundaries, but also learning the pressure of other people's lives and what they have going on. It's not my problem. And I say that in the nicest way, because as individuals, we have a lot going on, but in our society and psychology wise, we almost want to pick up other people's burdens and help put their pieces together. But it isn't our job. It is not our job. And I feel like I can pat myself on the back, and my therapist, I don't think she'd watch this, but still, like, where I have done a lot of self-reflection to where I can see the problem and not have to attack it anymore because it's not mine. And if it is my problem, I will get it sorted. But I'm just able to be that rock for my family, but in a more so still way, where I don't feel the pressure. I don't feel the chaos. I don't feel the need to have everything glued together, picture perfect. I can just allow it to be and be okay with that.
Well, let me tell you, I am learning a lot here today. I feel like I'm in a therapy session. I feel like we never get to see this part of Jacklyn. I feel like when you do start practicing, you are going to be a damn good therapist.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the fun things again. I say fun things, but your day-to-day is
crazy.
Insane. I asked you as you were walking in, I asked her as she was walking in, like, oh, what do you have today? And she was like, oh, this, and then I have a partnership with this, and then I'm going to here, and then I have this event. I was like, oh, whoa. My life is similar, but more so just real estate. So like I'm going showings and I see more houses and more houses, but not anywhere near you. So what does a day in the life of Jacklyn look like? Obviously, it changes day by day, but on an average day, what does your day look like?
Yeah. So what my day normally looks like is, of course, it started as a side gig, right? Where I moved to San Antonio. I'm going to share this story really quick because it makes sense. I moved up here and I was here for about 8 months. I wanted to start CrossFit, never done CrossFit in my life, but I was like, I want to do it. Couldn't find anywhere. Then I finally found a spot that was also kind of like on the south side. It's off the expressway and it's now called Bear Box with an amazing owner named Alexia. I love her so much. But at the time, Alexia wasn't the owner yet. And there was a guy owner. And I probably would have joined this gym about 3 months earlier had I known it wasn't just for military.
Okay.
They were very branded military this, military that. So I thought I literally had to enlist to be there and I wasn't about to do that. Then I finally got over my fear and I went and I just straight up told him, I was honest. I said, I really think I would have been here 6 months ago had I not convinced myself it was fully military.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, do you want to run our socials? And I was like, sure. So that was my gateway into media here.
Wow.
They were my first ever client. And really, that's kind of how it took off. And then through them, through word of mouth and through relationships, I was able to also kind of pick up on different clients. So my very first law firm was RHC Law. I love them so much. They do immigration and personal injury, and also a bar downtown called Alibis. Those were my first 3 businesses in San Antonio that took a risk on me. And I'm so grateful for them. Until this day, I will forever recommend people to all of them. And so that's really how it started. And that was the side gig. 5 years later, I finally decided to stop calling it a side gig. And I am actually in the process of filing my LLC.
Yay.
Because I do believe I have a marketing agency. And it's something that I don't say out loud. And I think this is my first time even saying it to the internet, to the world, which is crazy. So my day-to-day is really that. I have clients. And aside from that, I do media myself. I've been able to get some really cool brand partnerships and opportunities within the city and beyond. And it's a huge blessing. So honestly, I am always on my phone. So I am so grateful for my friends, my family who have really understood the work that I'm doing, because there's also a difference from when I'm doom scrolling because I just need a break from reality, but also when I'm working. So day to day, I just go see my clients depending on when they schedule. And sometimes I have to go step up and do collabs where I need to be in person as well, whether that be for events, restaurants, literally anything. So it's been fun. It's crazy. I am all over the place. I know somebody always tells me you are here, there, and everywhere. And I am. I know I am.
But you enjoy it.
I do.
Yeah, like it's not a chore for you.
No.
Which is rare. Like I think that's also something to highlight because it's a superpower. Like I call those superpowers. Like you have a superpower of not only entering a room and like really commanding the room, but your superpower is also doing it so like effortlessly because it's so enjoyable to you, and that's not normal.
And see, it wasn't always like that.
Okay.
It wasn't always like that. During grad school, I really, really lost my light, like entirety, because I had no life. I kind of convinced myself as the independent woman that I was, that I needed to be at this point in my life by a certain age. I started grad school when I was 20.
Wow.
I don't think many people can say that.
No.
But for me, it was just like I knew what I wanted. I wanted to get done, and I did not want to depend on anyone, no matter what that looked like. And granted, I mean, I would always have my parents' support, but I did not want to have to depend on them. It's just who I was as an individual. And I think I almost took that too far, where I was working full time and then I was doing my side gig for marketing, and then I was going to school full time. So for a while there, my program was almost 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I would wake up at 6:30, go to work, go straight from work to grad school, and I wouldn't get home until 10.
Damn.
And this is what my life looked like from Monday through Thursday. So how can anyone have a light?
Right.
My light was completely dark, and honestly, it was very scary because I've never been a dark person. I've always been super out there and super,
excited
ready
and positive and
and I could not recognize myself. I really couldn't. And that was a very, very hard time.
Yeah. I think that also it's just yet another lesson of like, not that was good and not that was a good choice for you to make, but it was also like, there are some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Maybe they shouldn't be as extreme, right? But sometimes life happens and like you got to sacrifice to get to where you want to go. A funny thing that I always say is, how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you want it? And it sounds like you wanted it hella bad. You know what I mean?
I wanted it so bad.
You wanted it hella bad.
There was nothing I wanted more in life than to be a therapist and to help those around me. Like that was all I wanted in life. It really was.
And so now that you see yourself, or that you're creating your agency that'll come, coming soon, and all the endeavors that will come with that, do you find a time, or is there ever a time where you're like, okay, this is my deadline, I'm going to do this until here, and then I want to go back and practice therapy?
Yeah. So I feel like I always had a very set standard for myself, and I struggled with perfectionism.
Okay.
I'm not like that anymore. Again, with the work that I've done with my therapist, I feel like I've been able to fully release these strict deadlines and almost like these restrictions I was putting on myself, because it was a very strict timeline. Like I graduated last December and I was going to be a therapist by January 1st.
Yeah.
Like I was very to the T, very on brand, I'm going to do this. And now I can say I don't feel the pressure to do that.
Good.
I'm more so on, if life takes me back in that direction, I will, and I will do it. But for now, from what I've heard from friends and family, I'm still a therapist, just in a different way.
I was just going to say, it's what you're doing here today. Okay. So, now let's talk about the fun, because I think that and this is not me blowing smoke up your ass, there are probably, if I could, on maybe 5 fingers, I could name 5 content creators. I'm not going to piss anybody off here, but you would be one of those people, because again, from whether it be a new restaurant that's opened, to a networking group, to bars, to theme parks, to car dealership. I mean, everywhere, anything you touch turns to gold, in the sense of it starts to get eyes on it, right? Like, and obviously it's because you're good at what you do, but talk to me about what are some fun things, because I think a lot of people don't, we see the work, we know that work is put in, we know that you get to go, there are times, I'm sure I've experienced, you get to go to a restaurant and they feed you for free and you just got to do a review and all the things, right? But what is one of the coolest things that you've experienced since kind of embarking on this journey? Like, that you were like, oh my God, is this real? Like, is this moment happening?
Yeah, first of all, that's so kind. Oh my gosh, because I feel like I kind of still struggle to say that like I create content. I don't consider myself as an influencer till this day.
Which is crazy, because everyone around you does, but okay.
But I don't know. I think I have just found such a passion in living, where it's almost became a digital diary for me. I love to capture the memories and the moments that I get to share with loved ones, with family, with friends. And I think within myself, I love doing things alone. And I feel like that's been such a huge advancement. Before, I could never do anything alone. I always needed someone, but I love doing things alone. And I feel like that's what I've truly enjoyed when it comes to these amazing opportunities that I've been able to get. I feel like one of the most exciting things definitely has to be signing a roller coaster. Like, hello,
That's
I signed
cool.
a roller coaster at SeaWorld. I'm like, my name will forever be at SeaWorld.
That's
like,
cool.
That's insane. I hope one day in the ancient years they break it down and they're
like,
like, who's Jacklyn?
But like, how did that happen?
They had asked me, and that was whole part of the whole Christmas festivities.
That's
and they're
so
currently building a
cool.
new roller coaster, and they just asked me if I would like to be on there. And of course, other creators were there, and that was just such an amazing opportunity. But I've also was able to land a very exciting partnership with a laser company.
Okay.
And so that was really exciting, to where I'm like, okay, like I can actually do this, you know? And
I was like, wait, I didn't know that, but I did know that. I saw the content.
Yeah. And I think just for me, I mean, yes, I've enjoyed creating content for myself, but I love creating content for others. And in a way, what brings me so much happiness and excitement is when a brand or a business trusts me with ultimately their baby. And you see success. And I think that gives me such comfort in knowing like, okay, I am doing something right at the pace that I am, at the speed that I'm doing it at. And I'm very just grateful for the relationships that I have built along this journey.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm sure that as you've gotten into this content creation space, there's been some peaks and valleys, right? Like, of course, just regardless of maybe content, right, that didn't do what you wanted it to do, maybe relationships that have fallen through. I mean, there's so many things that in just life in general. But with that being said, is there something that maybe if you were talking to someone that wanted to do content, is some piece of advice that you would give them to say like, hey, I know everyone's going to tell you to do this. Don't do that. Is there anything you could, just a small little piece of advice if someone's watching and they wanted to do what you're doing?
I would say just do it. And if I'm being very honest and very blunt, guys, don't pay attention to the numbers. I do not care about likes. I don't care about comments. I don't care about followers, which sounds insane. I know that does. But truthfully, when you're doing it for the right reasons, opportunities will come. Share what you want to share. Keep private what you want to keep private. But honestly, if you're authentically yourself and people see that, opportunities will come. And I don't think there's any better advice that I can give other than be you. Truly, because who you are is enough. And if people can see that online, it's going to do really well. It really is.
Okay, so speaking of being yourself, then that's a perfect segue. Let's do a quick little rapid fire, and then we're going to get into some even more intense things, but good things. So because you do a lot of content creation, you kind of you've opened your eyes to a lot of different businesses. So if you could, if I just called you up one day and said, hey, Jacklyn, I really want to go get a margarita, what's the first place that would come to your mind in San Antonio to go get a margarita?
El Marisol.
Oh, okay.
I'm a sucker for those cheese spas.
Those cheese spas?
Baby, one, you're carrying me to the car.
One. Two? Okay.
Two? I need two people carrying me.
Shout out to Marisol.
And Soluna. El Marisol and Soluna, sister restaurants, they both got cheese spas.
They're really good, but Marisol, oh my God.
And don't get me started on those enchiladas.
Their food is so good, but their cheese spas knock me on my butt. But in a sense of like, I could be there for like 2 hours and all I need is one, and I'm having a good time. I'm talking some chips and salt. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so margarita from El Marisol. Where would you go to get a burger?
Where I would go to get a burger, honestly, Burger Boy. They're so good. They're so good. They're fast. And there was none in the Valley. So since moving to San Antonio, it's become a thing for even my family. Every time we're here, we're getting a burger.
Do you agree that, shout out, I love Whataburger too, but do you agree that Burger Boy is what Whataburger I think wanted to be? And I love them both, right? I will eat both. But Burger Boy is like the grown feel of Whataburger because it's so homegrown. It feels so home. To me, when I get a Burger Boy, I'm like, oh, this tastes homemade. Like it don't taste corporate. It tastes very local. So it's funny you say that because it's my favorite too.
And I have a confession. I do. And honestly, I think this is going to be...
Oh no, I think I know what you're going to say. Go.
Guys, I have never had a burger from Whataburger. All I get is...
Podcast is over. No, I'm kidding. No.
All I get is chicken strips. Like
really?
I have never...
I mean, no shade. It's not like you're missing much. You're not missing much. But I thought what I thought you were going to say was that you're like an In-N-Out fan.
Oh, no.
No, I don't.
But like, I've just never had, I mean, anytime I say that to someone, they're like, oh my gosh. Guys, I'm just a chicken strip girl.
Okay, so that was going to say that's also based on what you normally would order anywhere. Okay, but yeah, shout out Burger Boy. Y'all are amazing. And then, okay, so then my other question would be, if you're going to go to a bar, not a low-key bar, like you just want to go, Jacklyn by herself, she wants to sit at the bar, have a cocktail by herself, where are you going?
Alibis.
Okay.
It's a super cute dive bar downtown on the St. Paul Square, so super close to the Alamo Dome. I love every bartender that's there. And yes, I've done marketing for them. I still work with them. But truthfully, it's just a cute little dive bar. They got karaoke on Fridays and Sundays. And it just gives like that little like home feeling. Of course, it's not some fancy bar. It's a dive bar. But the drinks are good. Everything is just such a fun time. Anytime I go there with friends, we always leave there super, super fun. Like we just had a blast. And I would say if you haven't been to Alibis, y'all have to go. Okay.
I've never been. I pass by it all the time when we're downtown.
We got to do karaoke.
Yes. Okay. So then the last rapid fire I have for you is this, I would say maybe rapid fire, not so much. We kind of touched on it, but where would you go to if you wanted to just enjoy the best Tex-Mex food out there? Where would you go?
Tex-Mex food. Again, I am very biased with
Okay.
just
That's
Mexican
okay.
food in general because nothing compared to my grandma's
Of
restaurant.
course.
I can't think of the name right now, but funny thing is I was living on the south side of San Antonio because I went
Yeah.
to A&M San Antonio, and I came across this little rinky-dinky Mexican restaurant, and it's down the street of Military, and it's
Okay.
right by Lackland. Oh my gosh, when I stepped in there, it reminded me of my grandma's
Where is it
restaurant.
by? I'm from the south side, so.
So if you're going down Lackland,
Okay.
and there's that big water tower there. I don't know if
Okay.
you've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like maybe 200 feet from that water tower, again on Military,
Okay.
and it's red and yellow. I need to get the name of it. But honestly, it just took me
Interesting. I
back.
want to go.
From the sweet tea to things that they had on the walls to the chairs. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in my grandma's restaurant.
That's cool.
And we landed there when I first came up here randomly. And honestly, I never left. Anytime I want to feel my grandma's, I
You
go
go
there.
there.
Mhm.
Wow, fun. See, I'm glad I asked that question. I wasn't going to ask that because
Yes.
it's very difficult because there's so many in San
Yeah.
Antonio. Wow. What are the
Mhm.
odds? Okay. So let's talk about all the things that I think some people may be here to hear about. So when you are doing content, when you are out, are you an elevated version of Jacklyn?
Mhm.
And do you turn it off when you go get in your car? Is it kind of like that decompression, or do you or are you just showing up as you are? Which I think I know the answer to this. I would imagine it's a little bit of both
Mhm.
because there is an elevation that has to occur when you're in these spaces. But one of the reason I ask that is because there's a common misconception of the fake, right? Like people love to use like, oh well, she's so fake, he's so fake. Oh, like they're so different. What are your thoughts on that? Because you and I have encountered
Mhm.
a lot of different individuals that may be different on and off camera or whatever the case may be. How do you balance that, I guess, the rhetoric of like the fake theory, right? That this is all paid promotion and they don't really like this restaurant, or that's not how she is in real life. Is it something that you battle, or is going back to what we talked about before,
Mhm.
do you just kind of let it release from your shoulder and kind of move on with your day?
Yeah, I feel again, I'm so secure with myself that I do not care what people
Good.
say. I will sometimes read comments, as of course, it's a lot of my friends and family that are supporting me.
Yeah.
But of course, you always come across some things that people have opinions. But for me personally, I will never share anything if I just don't genuinely like it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a common misconception, as you were saying. But when it comes to elevating or changing who I am, I don't do that. I feel like maybe sometimes my voice can go a little bit
Like you're a
higher
little bit
because you're on
louder.
camera and
Yeah.
you have to have a certain kind of voice that is needed to grasp attention. But who you see is
Who
who
you
I
are, yeah,
am.
what you are.
Truthfully, I think I'm that bubbly person. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you're a creator, you meet so many people.
Mhm.
And for me, you can be a stranger, but the moment that I meet you, you're my friend.
Yeah.
And you're my friend for life. And I will ride for you until dawn and off into the sunset. Okay. And that's just who I've always been. So I don't feel like I need to change to be a person online. Again, this is very personal to me. This is my diary. These are memories that honestly, I want to look back and show my kids one day.
Yeah.
Like, I know growing up, it was always photo albums, but there's not really a lot of
No.
those now. But it's like, I would love to see myself in 20 years look back and be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I
just
can't
being able to
believe I did
scroll
this with
through,
my
yeah.
friends, or I
Yeah.
did this with my family. And that's what keeps me going. It's so much fun. I love what I do because it's literally a memory book.
I think too, it's just so, I think I said this before, but like it's so effortless
Yeah.
for you.
And that's how it should be.
And that's what I was gonna say, and I think and I'm gonna say this for you. I think that is what the fine line there is. If you are born to do something, you do it,
Mhm.
right? If you're born to something, it innately just kind of transpires, and you're good at it, and you're not stressed about it, you're not worried about it, you're not nervous about it in
Yeah.
your sense. And I can kind of identify, like when I come here and I'm sitting down to talk to someone, I don't stress about it. I'm not rehearsing the questions I'm going to ask when I get here. That's how you kind of know you're on to something, if you
Yeah.
will, right? But what the message that I personally have for anybody that's wanting to do content or currently doing it, just don't do it if it's not in you. Don't do it if you have to be someone different when it comes time to push record.
Because it shows.
Because it shows, and I mean, I could scroll through, open my phone right now and kind of point out things that just don't feel authentic. So my message to people would be, don't force yourself just because you think this life is glamorous and full of money and opportunity. And although it is, if you push yourself and you do it the right way, don't automatically think you're going to jump in and you're going to be someone, this character that sells XYZ and you're going to make it, because more often than not, they kind of stay stagnant. And I say they, meaning
there's a lot of work in it, you know. I mean, you can do it for several years before you even start getting paid, you know. And I'm blessed enough to where I'm able to create content for others and then have myself do it on the side. So that's been a blessing within itself. But truthfully, if you're just in it for the money, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, because it doesn't start off that way.
Yep. Amen. So how many clients do you have right now total
for
that
my
you work
agency?
with?
I would say for my agency, I have, I'm going to say about 6.
Nice.
Working on my 7th one.
And do you have a cap where you're like, hey, I'm not accepting any new clients right now, or you'll get there when you get there?
I think when I get there, because ultimately, like I said, this is really going to be my business year when I want to dive straight into it. And if I could have like interns and have people with me and partners, have them learn the ropes of things, that would be really exciting.
Wow. Okay. Before we round out the episode, I feel like it's important. I didn't tell you this off camera, but I'm learning it as I'm recalling it as we're talking. There's a specific story that I think is important for you to talk about, which is your best friend who passed a little over a year now. If you don't mind, are you okay talking about it? Okay.
I'm okay.
I'm gonna tee it up and then you can kind of take. I don't want to steal the story because it's not my story to tell, but it's something that I feel invested in, and I've never even told you this. I don't cry on the show. I feel invested by I feel invested to it because I never knew him, but there was something about his aura that you've shared that I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you met him. I never did. But, Jacklyn's best friend who passed tragically a little over a year ago, when she talks about him online, I feel like, oh my God, that was me at his age. Like, how old was he? 20?
He was 25.
25, yeah. So at 25, I was like, oh, that was me. And it was one of those aha moments where I was like, life takes you down all these different paths. You meet the people that you're going to meet. And it was just that one little spark that I was like, oh my gosh, like that's why I met Jacklyn, for as a reminder, not to be selfish, but it was a reminder to me that life is precious, number one, but number two, to live for little Rueben, which is, I talk about it a lot on this podcast, which live for little Rueben, because little Rueben didn't have anyone to look up to that looked like me or talk like me. So talk to us about your best friend, talk to us about, tell the audience, that journey and what that looks like and what you are still kind of, I'd say, coping with as the years have gone by.
Yeah, I would say Alan is always going to be my best friend and will forever be my best friend. And he has so many other besties, which is amazing. Quite frankly, we're all girls and we love it here. We loved it. And when you kind of think back and you look at how life shapes you, we were both from the Valley. He moved up here about a year earlier, or almost 2 years earlier than me, because he came up here for undergrad. He went to UIW where he studied to be a teacher. And he was a perfect teacher. Oh my gosh. When you look at a teacher, he embodied everything that a teacher should be. The perfect teacher for his students, for the employees he was around, but really just who he was in his core. It ultimately, again, lit up the room, and it almost made the entire grade level or school want to be better, because he just had so much passion for the things that he did. Yeah. Not only was he a teacher, he played sports. He loved volleyball. I hadn't touched a volleyball in 6 years since I moved away from school and I moved up here, and he brought me back and we played leagues in little rinky dinky areas around San Antonio, but he brought me back, and it was such a fun thing that we were able to do together as friends, and I was able to meet more of his friends, and we had such a beautiful time doing it. While I was working in the school system, I think I forgot to share that when I first moved up here, that's what I was doing. I was a school social worker.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I was a school social worker through grad school. I'm telling you, I've worn many hats. I have so many little lures, which is hilarious. But I was hosting a student event, and it was like almost kind of like a science fair. And it was a super cute thing. A lot of our students came, and we were at a K through 8th school. And while I was there, I had posted that we were having a STEM night, super fun. And then Alan had swiped up like, wait, what school is this? The school I just left was having a STEM night. And I said, what do you mean you just left? I was like, why were you here? And he's like, well, I was interviewing with the principal. And I was like, is it Woodlawn Academy? And he was like, yes, it was Woodlawn Academy. I stopped what I was doing at this STEM night, called my principal, and I said, you need to hire him. I said, there is many opportunities that come in life, and this is one that you can't miss. You need to hire him. And the next morning too, of course, he responded, my principal. He was like, he was amazing. They had a great chat. I went straight to his office at 7:30 in the morning. That was the first thing that I did. And I said, so what did you think? Like, you need to hire him. I said, I promise you these kids' lives will be changed. But ultimately, I feel like I was kind of talking to myself, where my life would be changed if he had worked here. And truthfully, my office was right down his room. And it became a thing where we had lunch every day. We'd make each other copies. We'd help each other. But honestly, it was our home away from home. We were both from the valley.
Odds?
What are the odds? Out of every school, there's so many schools in San Antonio, so many schools. But truthfully, it was just such an amazing thing where I think we both needed that, and we didn't even know. We were both beginning our adult lives. And truthfully, I could not have done it without him. Like, he had really inspired me to be who I am today. And he was almost that light for me through grad school, because he was doing all these things. He was such a yes man that if he needed to be there for you, he would drop whatever he had and he would go. And if he couldn't drop it, he would still try and make it, even if it was the last 30 minutes or an hour. But he just inspired you to live. And truthfully, that's something that has stayed with me, obviously past his passing, but everything. And I think one story that I shared online is, even when it came to graduation, as a teacher, you don't get many days off. You truly don't. And he took the entire day off so that way he wouldn't miss my graduation. And I think that alone means more to me than I really think that anybody actually knows. But I am who I am today. And selfishly, I love Wicked because I knew Alan. I've been changed for good, forever. And I am so grateful to have known him and to love him. And as tragic and as hard as grief is, and honestly, last year it was an uphill battle, and I'm still walking up that battle. But he has shown me that there's so much light in life, where life is so short. So if you have family around you, if you have friends around you, that is so important. And I think what stayed with me, and what I tell people often, is like, if you haven't talked to someone, call them. If you don't say I love you, start saying I love you, because life is so short. And I think I shared this story with you, that on the day of his passing, we got to see each other the night before. And that wasn't planned. It wasn't planned at all. And again, I just feel like the universe has its way of just working things out. And we were able to see each other for the last time, and hug and laugh and talk about all the things and our plans for Christmas break and all of that stuff. Because we would sometimes go down together to the valley too. And we didn't say bye. And we were the type of relationship that always said bye. I mean, you're best friends, right? It almost just felt like we kind of just separated, and it just ended like that, you know? And to me, I kind of came at peace with myself that friendship has no end. And I think he's proved that in the afterlife. There's been so many beautiful signs to where I know it's him. And if I'm being honest, that catapulted my life as a creator and as a business owner. It almost inspired me to live. And if he wasn't going to be able to live anymore, I was going to do that for him.
I like that.
I
think that, you know, when I saw the story, and I think what really hit me was when you got to go visit him at his gravesite. He got a headstone, but it was so cool to see, because on a lighter note, you didn't miss a beat. You took your shots. You took a shot with it. Like, I think the message I'm making sure that everyone can hear in this episode is, life is too short. Jump when it's time to jump, but also nourish the relationships that you have. And I think that's the umbrella of this whole conversation, whether it be because you may lose them, or whether it may be that you nourish that relationship and then it catapults you to your next endeavor, or your family, or whatever the case may be. I think that there's a lot to be learned. I think that there's no podcast episode that could be long enough to like chat. You and I could be here all day. But I want to end it on this note. I ask every guest, I don't know if you know that I do this or not, but I ask every guest to, you can either look at the camera, you can look at me, you can close your eyes, for all I care. But this is a part of a segment. When I started the podcast, it was for this moment of when Jacklyn looks back at little Jacklyn, right? And she thinks of how she thought. When Rueben looks back at little Rueben, who had no one to look up to that was like him, or your children, right? Whoever it may be, or people that are watching that just want to be like Jacklyn, right? I don't think that we do it enough times. We don't reflect on all the success that we've had. We don't reflect on everything we've done and been through. So this is a moment I want you to kind of reflect. And if it takes you a couple seconds to think about it, totally fine. But I want you to look at the camera or look at me or talk about what you would tell little Jacklyn 10, 15 years ago, knowing what you know now in life. What would you tell her to look forward to or how to ride this journey of life?
Yeah, and this is crazy because this is kind of what I kind of did on my last year of grad school. We had to present an activity for a whole group of our counseling students, and mine was writing a letter to your younger self. So I had all of my colleagues now, right, write letters to themselves, and they didn't open it until graduation day. Until this day, I haven't opened mine because, as we know, everything happened so fast around graduation with Alan's passing, and I'm not ready to open it. I'm kind of just riding the wave. But from what I remember and what I feel in my heart, like telling my younger self is, you are where you're meant to be. I've always been such a go-getter, and I think younger me would be so proud to see the life that I'm living and the life that I'm creating, not just for myself, but those around me. That's who I've always been at the core. I'm always going to be there for my friends, for families, for strangers. And I can say that as I'm going to be 25 in a few days. As a 25-year-old, I have now lived 25 years. I can look back and think in every single year of my life, I'm staying true to who I am. And that alone is why I'm at where I'm at. So younger me, I'm so proud of myself. I am doing the damn thing. And honestly, I'm just truly proud that I haven't changed and I am who I am. And I'm proud to be Jacklyn. I'm proud to create this life that I'm living. But honestly, when I look back and I see just younger pictures of myself, and if you've never done that, honestly, pull up a younger picture of yourself and genuinely talk to yourself. Anytime you're saying you look overweight, or maybe you're unhappy with the life that you're living, or I'm so stupid, try saying that to a picture of your younger self, because that's who you're talking to. Inner child will forever live inside of you. And I can say, as a 25-year-old, I do things still to this day that heals my inner child. So I'm just so proud of baby me, and of course who I am becoming as an adult, but also just the relationships and the life that I'm living and the people that I've met along the way, because truthfully, I would not be here without others. And really, the last thing I kind of want to leave people with is, again, yes, not everybody, like you said, goes through such an intense grief or an intense loss, but you have an Alan in your life, whether that be a job, whether that be a career, whether that be family, friends, or maybe you did go through a grief, but find your driving force. And if it's not someone else, then maybe it's yourself.
Yeah. With that being said, before we sign off, I have to tell you, I would tell you this off camera, but might as well tell you on camera. We're episode 13, 14, 15 that filmed now. And there are very, 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 very few people who, when I'm talking to, I don't feel like I have to pull a curtain down. I don't feel like I have to warm them up to get them to talk. What you see is what you get, for real, but I mean this with my whole heart. And for those listening, what you said about, like, when I meet you, you're my friend, I felt that immediately. And I don't feel pressure we don't hang out ever, right?
Yeah.
But when I talk to you, I know you care, and I know you feel that from me.
Yeah.
And that's rare. I don't know if people tell you that often, but it really, 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 really means a lot, because I don't feel like you're not expecting something from me, like, oh, well, then what are you going to give me back? Or, hey, we both know we're busy. There's no expectation, but we cherish and we appreciate the conversation, and that's rare.
Yeah.
So I needed to say that.
That's so kind. And I think, truthfully, just being able to lead with love and kindness and light. Like I said, my parents have instilled that with me. But again, my grandma was really that driving force for me, where she was that person for so many people, even until her last year, even up until her last breath. And it's just a connection that I have to her that I don't think I ever will change. I know a lot of the times the misconception is, oh my gosh, you're going to be so tired giving and giving. But truthfully, in a world where you're able to give, you will never be exhausted.
Nice.
Because life and the universe and of course God will always give back to you.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Jacklyn is a world of knowledge. All her handles will be in the description. She will be tagged in anything we do together. You gotta check her out. Her content is amazing. The businesses that are her clients that she has, they are thriving as well. So make sure you follow Jacklyn. Again, all her stuff is in the description. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
And until
Thank
next
you so
time.
much.
Bye.